So I'm going to set the scene for my interaction with the Black Hebrew Israelites back in 2022 in Oakland, California, right? Now, I don't know much about this group. I don't really know much about the history and the culture, but I had this interesting interaction with a group of these dudes in the Bay Area. Now, what made me think of this was a dude was talking about Oakland before and it came up and, I remembered it. So basically what happened was I got stopped by this group of dudes down by the lake one day. Broad daylight, good vibe, sun shining. I just come back from a guy's birthday party and I was the only dude who turned up, mind you. And this guy happened to be a black African-American dude. And I was down by the lake with him. He was selling like crystals and stuff. And I was celebrating his birthday with him. So on my way back from the birthday, I get caught up in a conversation. And at this point, I was so naive. I didn't even realize what was going on, right? Which actually worked in my favor in this interaction. So I'm walking down, right? There's a group of dudes who, one of them's holding a sign that says, "God hates white people." And he's kind of nudging it to me so I could sort of see the sign because I couldn't read it. And dude, at this point, I still didn't jerry on what was going on. And by the time I sort of knew it, I was caught in this conversation and another guy had sort of invited me into the chat. And one thing led to the next. And by the time you know it, I've got a microphone in my hands and a camera in my face, right? And to be honest, at this point, I still didn't notice what was going on. I was kind of on holiday in the States. I was just flowing with what was going on at the time. And, it was just one of those things where I look back on it and go, oh, fuck, that makes so much sense. And, that could have ended up a bit twisted. But hey, so I'm on the mic. This guy's grilling me. It started off as like a more leading into a conversation about who I am and where I come from and what I'm doing in the States. But I noticed it started off somewhat like friendly, but then it started to get more aggressive in the interaction and the tone of what was going on. And I remember this other dude tried to line up and grab the mic. It was another white dude. And the guy who was sort of running this thing, this little group of dudes, he was like, "No, you can wait your turn because I'm dealing with this guy." And he's pointing at me. And I was sort of thinking in the moment, like, okay, you're dealing with me, right? And at this point, I guess I was naive to what was happening, but I was kind of just rolling with it. And they were asking me about where are you from? Why are you here? What's your family heritage? Who are you to be in America? If you get to New York, all the black people are going to hate you. You think you're a photographer. Check out the fresh print that I took in New York, by the way. You think you're a photographer. You are probably being a culture vulture, taking photos of black people. You should go back to Australia. It just went on and on and on. And I knew my heritage. I knew where I come from. I had no issue with explaining this. But it was more so, it wasn't a debate, but it was like me laying down the truth of what was going on and then them coming back with this like fiery, bitter kind of energy, right? And this dude's saying to me, "Oh, if you go to New York, man, all the black people are going to hate you." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool. I'm going there in like 2 weeks anyway, so we'll soon find out." Thinking in my head, like, the fuck is this guy's problem, right? And the more the conversation went on, people sort of started gathering in the background and joining the circle, and there was a bit of a crowd going on, and I'm just kind of there. At this point, still not really getting what it is because I didn't know who these people were. I've never heard of them. The Black Hebrew Israelites, right? And I probably, when you're on the mic and you're talking, it probably feels like it's longer than it is, but I think I was there for maybe 5 minutes or whatever. And I'm chatting and I'm telling them what's going on, and everything I was saying, the main leader dude was sort of like stepping up and trying to put me in my place, but he was doing it in a way where he wasn't over the top aggressive because it was broad daylight and there was like families and shit there. But they were, attempting to put me in my place because of the color of my skin, right? Anyway, so what ended up happening, and it was pretty funny, the dude, the main guy had this like movie scene quote. You could tell he'd practiced a million times in the mirror and shit. And I just happened to be the dude who was like going to cop it. And he walks up to me in front of everyone, right? And they got this like skinny little dude on the cam in the back. And at this point, I'm just like, yeah, this is an experience, whatever. And then he says to me, hey, listen to me. When you get back to Australia, you tell your friends you met the black Hebrew. And at this point, a fucking Harley rode past, loud as anything. And I missed what he said. I couldn't hear what he was saying. I was like, the black who? And then he was like, the black Hebrew Israelites, bro. Like, listen up. And tried to staunch me and shit. And it just kind of, like, coincidentally, like, messed up his movie scene moment because the motorbike. And I could see he was getting frustrated in the moment. And I'm standing there being like, what the fuck? And I remember leaving. I was like, okay, I'm about to bounce. Like it was just, at this point, I still didn't know who they were. Like, I didn't understand the background of these people. So I just kind of left, and I was like, I remember getting on the bus and I was going to get a protein bar or something. And I was looking them up online. I'm like, black Hebrew Israelites, who are these people? And then I started to look into history, and I started thinking, oh, fuck, man, this could have got a bit twisted because of, you know, the way they were coming at me and the belief systems and what I'm reading online. And anyway, I got out of there, went and got my protein bar, had a bit of a laugh about it, was telling the story to someone tonight. That's why I remembered it. And this whole time I'm thinking, you fucking bitter dude, bro. You are so bitter and angry and negative, and your whole thing that was supposedly some big speech that you were trying to put me in my place, but really you just came off as weird and angry and bitter. And me as an Aussie in your country, you know, it was just not a good taste. It doesn't leave a good taste in your mouth, right? And it wasn't really anything I needed to like process too much because it was, you know, 5-minute interaction at the beach. But I remember thinking at the lake, I remember thinking later, I was like, this dude's whole life, like these people in this crew, their whole life is let's hate white people. And I'm not saying this is everyone in this culture, you know, of whoever they are. Maybe they all have different beliefs. I don't know. It could have been this particular group that I ran into that are representing this entire group or whatever. But the bitterness and the pure just, look, man, I don't know their beliefs. I'm not going to say delusion, but just the racism and shit. Just because I was white, they were like, you can't come here and we're going to hate you. And dude, I got to New York and they fucking love me, bro. The black community like praised me when I turned up because I was respecting what was going on there. Mind you, I was going there for the 50th birthday. Was it 50 or 51st? 51st birthday of hip hop. Going to the Bronx. I met KRS-One. I met Coke La Rock. I turned up. Tony Touch was there. Like a fucking amazing experience in the Bronx, right? For the Sedgwick Avenue party for the hip hop culture, the birthday. And that was my plan, to go there. And anyway, long story short, I just thought it was interesting that I had a run-in with these people. And I had some other dudes I was meeting up with later on that I met through a boxing gym in, I think it was like, not called Cemetery, something along the lines of that up in Oakland. And I met this guy who introduced me to a bunch of dudes who were African Americans who treated me with absolute respect. And all they could do was like, when I told them I met the black Hebrew Israelites, these dudes were like, oh bro, tell us what happened, man. Because like, this is pretty, you know, heated sort of stuff around here. And we just kind of sat back and laughed at it and realized that these dudes were spending their entire lives hating on white people, thinking they are supreme and thinking that they are superior, and they want to be racist and spending all their energy on standing down at the lake trying to victimize people because of their skin color, when in the next breath they're turning around saying that you hate us for our skin color. It was fucking, yeah, it was an interesting interaction. Anyway, that was my you know, catch up with the black Hebrew Israelites down by the lake in Oakland, California, 2022. And I left that, and you know, I guess the point that I'm making is the interaction painted I guess an image about that. I don't know if it's a culture or a group. I'm just going to call them a group because I don't know anything about their history. This group of people just came off as just angry and jaded and still holding on to the past and trying to preserve something that I don't even know makes any sense. And everyone else was standing around basically thinking, are these guys going to get over this? So anyway, yeah, interesting story. Thought I'd share it. I've got a lot of stories from my trips. I might load some up. You know, I was there for 3 months and just getting absolutely hated on by the black community. Nah, not even. I fucking had so many interactions with the black community. Everyone gave me props. They gave me respect. They treated me well. They treated me like a king. They loved the fact that I was there celebrating their culture. They loved the fact that I was rolling around with a camera taking dope photos. They enjoyed it. They appreciated me, except for that one bitter, small-minded crew of people that thought it was a great idea to try and staunch some, you know, foreigner at the lake at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it just turned out kind of weird and weak. So anyway, that's what it is. So yeah, that's one of my stories. So yeah.